Now, sharing more of my conversation from last Friday with Chris and Riley Lear. They are owners of a fitness and recovery equipment business called Teeter, located in Bonney Lake. They have these cool inversion tables that tilt you back to, kind of help with spinal and joint issues. That's just one of their many products. That's kind of how they got started as a family business many, many years ago. They are lifelong Democrats for the most part. They told me very candidly. He's from Chris Lear, I should say, is from Canada. He says he, kind of still ascribes to those values and believing that sort of healthcare is a right and that kind of a thing. But because of the income tax on top of everything else they have faced trying to keep their business afloat, they may end up having to move not just their residence, but their business out of the state of Washington. They shared with me that surviving COVID and having to lay off, two-thirds of their staff, followed by tariffs and just higher business taxes in the state of Washington. And now the coming income tax, it has driven them to the brink.
We could either buckle down and reinvest in our business and come up with a new innovative product and then keep driving forward, or we can just see what happens as it is.
Well, I think that
We can reinvest and keep pushing, or we can
the problem is,
make it easy.
we can't do that because we've been kicked in the teeth so many times. Like tariffs kicked us in the teeth.
Well, before tariffs, it was shipping costs. Shipping costs
Larger
started going up through the roof and took all the
sellers.
profit. Then
But
interest rates took all the profit. Then tariffs took the profit. And now oil prices are taking the profit.
right.
So it's kind of like, it's hard to know what to do, really.
I think any business that is making it through these COVID to now times, there should be some support. Like I said, we went from 60 staff to 20. I'm interviewing people right now, and it's a tough job market out there. People are like, I've been searching for a while. You want to see more stabilization of the economy. Supporting the businesses is going to get us there, not beating us down and trying to scrape more away from us. There's nothing else to give. We have literally been bled dry, and there should be some grace.
Now, the couple shared with me that Washington Democrats who pushed passage of the millionaire's tax, it's the so-called millionaire's tax, because at this point it is only going to be, starting in 2028, a tax of 9.9% on income above the $1 million threshold or combined household income above that threshold. But many believe it will, be lowered to eventually be a tax on all income levels in the state of Washington. But they explain, even though they're not, gazillionaires, they have an S corporation. What happens with that business setup is that your business income shows up as personal income on your tax returns. So they were explaining to me that because they, have these large pieces of equipment that are stored in their warehouses, you might have, $350,000 or more of inventory sitting there in your warehouse. Of course, you're not making money on that. It hasn't been purchased by anyone, shipped to anyone, but it's sitting there ready to go. May have shown up on a tax return as, made $2 million that year. But again, all that inventory is sitting there. So it looks like you had this great year and you're going to get taxed by the millionaire's tax when really you haven't made that much money. And remember, their business, as many others have told us, are coming off of some really tough, very lean years. And you don't get to count those losses from previous years against one good year that might have shown that you made all this money. Some other prominent entrepreneurs who have recently spoken with us at the Center Square about, their plans to potentially leave the state include Bulwark Capital Management Principal and CIO Zach Abraham, and also Venice AI founder Jesse Proudman. Both said the state's new income tax is really pushing them to potentially set up residency and look to relocate their business operations outside the state of Washington. Now, remember, a lawsuit has been filed challenging the constitutionality of the income tax, and Let's Go Washington is currently gathering signatures for a campaign effort. They hope they'll get enough signatures to qualify for the November ballot to put a repeal of the income tax before voters this November.